Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in, and if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny, and today I've got a knife from QSP in front of me that was loaned to me by Don Farmer from DNK Knives. Shout out to Don, all around great guy, a legend in the knife community. And Don, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you. So today, obviously, it is going to be Hedgehog Day. I almost said Groundhog Day. We're talking about a slip joint. And I know some of you are clicking out already. Like, oh, here we go again. Another slip joint. Blah, blah. I have to have a knife that locks. And you know what? I want you all to know that I hear you. But before you click out, I want you to hear me out, because I'm going to go over some reasons why you should consider a slip joint. Because I get it. I'm part of the club that says I don't really feel like I need a slip joint in my life. But they're starting to grow on me. And this specific one is a really big reason, a really big part of that. I am very impressed with this knife. I did an initial reaction on this knife when it came in with a couple other knives from DNK. And by the way, guys, if you want one of these, currently these are like 58 bucks on dnkknives.com. I'll post a non-affiliate link down in the description below. Now, for those of you who are big on the specs, here's the spec card for the QSP Hedgehog. We're looking at a blade length of 2.87 inches long. Overall length is not super long either. It's 6.6 inches long. It's got a lanyard hole. It comes in a lot of different options, actually. The blade is 14C28N, and that's about it. How's the action? Well, when you're talking about slip joints, you have to talk about the walk and talk, which is the stiffness and springiness of the click as you deploy it. Slip joints are not a locking knife. And I was like, you know what? It's 2024. Why can't all knives be locking? And you know what? I gave it a lot of thought, because there's a lot of really cool slip joints coming out. And I know some of you are thinking, you know what? I like it. I just wish that it was a locking knife. And proof of that is if you just look at the Jack Wolf Knives Gunslinger and the Jack Wolf Knives After Hours, the proof is in the pudding. People like the knives, but they just want them to lock. So why, oh why, is there a resurgence when it comes to slip joint knives? First of all, we have to talk about the level of maturity one needs to decide to carry a slip joint knife. These are actually kind of dangerous, but not for the reason that you might think. They're kind of dangerous because we're all used to knives like this. Pop, it's open, and it's locked, and it's not going anywhere, right? Right? Not necessarily. Have you been seeing the lock tests that have been going on? The spine whack tests where frame locks are failing, button locks are failing. Newsflash, guys. Any locking knife can fail. And so one of the reasons why I think slip joints require just a little bit more maturity is the understanding that there is no lock that can fail, because there's no lock. What you do have is a very stiff spring that keeps this in place. And when you're pushing into a cut, like, I don't know who out there is, cutting like this, but most of the time the pressure is going to be keeping the blade, like this. And there's a select few of us, maybe more than a few, who use their knives hardcore for work, and you really do need to rely on a heavy locking knife. Most of those people are just going to use a fixed blade. Otherwise, for EDC tasks, what do we really need a locking knife for? Like when you go to pop open your latest Amazon box purchase, when you want to cut up a piece of fruit, when you want to cut a piece of rope or do a utility style cut, do you really need a knife lock for that? Or do you just need the blade to stay where it's supposed to be? I think that knife locks give a lot of people this false sense of security. That's why there's so many horror stories in comment sections of these button lock failure videos where people are like, well, I trusted it and it didn't, you know what? Like, it came back and it bit me. And they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that they weren't expecting it. And the arguments are made. well, you know, what if I get the knife stuck, you know, in a cut and, you know, or like I go, like I'm turning around and I hit something with my knife and it disengages on me. It's not my fault, right? I would disagree. And I disagree because these are tools first and foremost. And anytime you use a tool, you are the last part of the accountability equation. The buck stops with you, or in this case, the blade. If you cut yourself with your knife, it is on you. If you were unaware, maybe it was an accident. But that brings me to the point of saying, if it's a slip joint knife and you know that it's not locking, you're going to be more aware of it. It's a knife that requires maturity. The QSP Hedgehog is great. This specific one has the denim blue milled micarta handle scales, single-sided captive pivot. Not that I think that it matters for a slip joint. I really enjoy the fact that you get all of this super slicey edge and it's protected while it's in your pocket. You see that? That is a full-length backspacer, and that's what you get on slip joints. And I love that. I love that because nothing sucks worse than actually going to use your knife and finding out that you chipped the edge, not by using it, just by carrying it, and because you had other crap in your pockets, it dinged the edge. This is a great knife for EDC. What it's not a great knife for is the type of fidgeting that we all have come to become accustomed to. And listen, I'm not saying that I'm only ever going to buy slip joints now, or that I'm done with locking knives, or that I think that this one is superior. What I'm trying to say is that this is a verifiable option for people that use their knives for the simple tasks, for the opening of boxes, for the opening of letters, for the utility cuts, for the cutting up of fruit for children at, you know, the next barbecue that you go to. It's also a knife that's not going to draw a lot of unnecessary attention. I have several knives that if I were to deploy in public, people will go and want to talk to HR about it because they might consider it a weapon. No one's looking at this like a weapon. Everyone's looking at this like a tool, and it's very purpose-built. Check out how deep this hollow grind is. That is fantastic. Also, the materials on this one specifically, 14C is amazing as a user steel because it is extremely rust resistant. It is very, very tough, which means that you're not going to have to worry about chipping the edge, and it's easy to sharpen. Depending upon the heat treat, it could also hold an edge relatively well for a user steel. Now on this one, this is a knife that is definitely built for utility. Just look at that blade. That is almost a Spanish razor tip style blade. Your utility cuts couldn't get easier on this one. And the best part is that let's say that you're looking at this and you're like, you know what? I just want more premium materials. Did you know that they make the QSP Hedgehog in the traditional pocket knives exclusive in Jig Titanium and M390? Did you know that you can get it in fat carbon fiber, like 80s camo carbon fiber in M390? And you don't have to pay Jack Wolf knife prices to get one. You can get one of the premium versions with those premium materials for about 145, 150 bucks. That's awesome. That's awesome. Or if you are someone that doesn't want to break the bank and you truly do just want a utility razor, here you go. 50 bucks? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It goes without saying that if you need a knife to do work, to get work done, those who came before us, the EDC freaks of the yesteryear who loved case canoe knives and the old lockback knives and the case slip joints, you know what? They got a lot of work done. This is not just an example of a really good slip joint. It's an example of a return to form, a going back to the roots of EDC, when we carried stuff every day, not because we wanted to fidget with it, but because we wanted to get shit done. Guys, if you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to pick one of these up, go ahead and head on over to dnknives.com. I will again list it in the description down below. And if you disagree with me, if you think that for everyday purposes, we need something more than a slip joint, Let me know in the comments section down below. Speak your truth. And if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, make sure to click on one of the videos that pops up next.